Hello and welcome to my Christmas kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I am here on this channel typically sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Now today is not a low-cal, low-bite, low-point video. This is for some quick and easy Christmas treats that you can make up, give as gifts, bring to a party, what have you. But they're all going to be very simple, so that if you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of experience, what have you, you can still do these. Now if you think I am looking oddly familiar in this shirt from the dough ornament video on Monday, you are correct, because I am recording this all on the same day and didn't want to change my shirt. So you get to see this shirt once again. I designed it myself, so I'm a little proud of it. Anyway, what we're going to start off with are some nut clusters. I have here one bag of chocolate chips. I'm using Ghirardelli milk chocolate. This is about an 11.5, 12-ounce bag. That's what you want. That's going to be about 2 cups. And I also have here 2 cups of lightly salted peanuts. You could use more salted ones if you want, but I prefer having them lightly salted just to control the salt in this. And as an option, I did bring out, you could add some dried cranberries, some raisins, whatever, if you wanted to add some fruit to this. I am not doing that today. I am just making this simple. So away go the cranberries. And I'm sure there are some of you who are pleased that those are out of the picture. So first thing we have to do is melt our chocolate. I'm going to be doing that in the microwave. Now when you do melt chocolate in the microwave, you want to do it very gently. So I'm going to do this in 30-second bursts. 30 seconds stir, 30 seconds stir, and keep doing that until they start to soften up. And I will show you about where you should stop. So let me get these in the microwave. All right, so it looks like this is where we're going to stop. There were little impressions of the chocolate chips remaining, but once you stir those through, it's going to help them to melt down into the rest of this liquid chocolate. So that only took about 4 little bursts to get this melted down where it should be. Now all we're going to do, toss in our peanuts and stir those through. And as I said, you could add fruit, you could add different kinds of nuts. I'm just using peanuts because that was more readily available. Now, typically what I would do is use my little scoop and portion this out, but instead I'm bringing in 2 spoons so I can show you, if you don't have a scoop, this is how you would do it. It's just as easy. So you're just gonna, with 1 spoon, scoop out the amount that you want to make your clusters and just push with the other spoon to get it off of that spoon and shape it as you want and continue doing that until you've got them all portioned out. And now, just to make sure they know it is Christmas, I'm going to add some sprinkles to the top. You don't have to do this, but it gives it a nice little festive feel to the candies by having a little bit of adornment. And these are not like cookies where you need to worry about them spreading, so you can park them kind of close together. That way you have room to make as many as you'd like. You may need another tray if you have smaller trays, but we're just going to pretty these up a little bit. And there they are, very festive looking. Now you could just leave these out and let them air dry to solidify. I like putting them into the fridge for about 10 minutes just to help to set this up. But there is our first little Christmas treat. Some delicious nut clusters adorned with some Christmas sprinkles. So I'll put these away and I'll be back with the next one. Okay, so for our next quick treat, we're going to do some chocolate covered pretzel rods. Now I have a tall glass here because I want something that I can take the pretzel rod and stick it down into rather than trying to roll it in a bowl or get it covered that way. So I am going to take probably about half of this bag of chocolate chips, and I'm going to microwave this just like I did with the nut clusters, 30-second bursts. Now we'll see how long this will take because these are more confined together, so it may take a smidge longer, but there's also about half as much. So let me get this prepped, we'll move on. Okay, so that did it. This did take the same amount, 4 30-second bursts. Just going to mix that through to make sure that the chips are all melted in there. Now just keep your spoon nearby as you're working because this may thicken up and you want to be able to soften it again in about 15-second bursts. So I'm just going to take my pretzel, stick it into the chocolate and swirl it through. Shake off any excess and lay that down. And then you can do this as you go along so that the chocolate doesn't set up on you while you're waiting. Just decorate them with a few sprinkles. And I also have some peppermint ones that I'm going to put on some. So let me get these coated and we'll be back. Okay, and once you get down to the bottom of the glass, I'm going to use my spoon and try to get it down so it's laying against this end so I can roll the last pretzel in there. So with about a half a bag of chocolate chips, I ended up getting 16 pretzels. So I'm just twirling the pretzel in the chocolate laying down here on the bottom. All right, so lay that down. Now I'm going to add some sprinkles to this one, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Some delicious pretzel sticks. Now these, again, you're gonna just let air dry or you can throw them in the fridge. My problem with throwing them in the fridge is that sometimes the moisture in there will soften the pretzel, so I prefer letting these air dry. So I'm gonna set these aside and we'll move on to the next one. So our next quick treat is just going to be some marshmallows dipped in chocolate. Now, you can use these just as a little snack, but I actually like stirring them into a hot chocolate. So I'm putting them on little sticks. But let me first use up the other half of the bag of chocolate chips that I haven't used. Now while the chocolate is melting, I'm going to take some of my sticks and just pierce them into the marshmallow and get those ready for dipping. And these I got at a craft store. You can probably get them at Walmart. Let me get the marshmallows on the stick and the chocolate melted and I will be back. Okay, so I got about 16 marshmallows done. And now what I'm going to do is dip it into chocolate. Dip it into either some graham cracker crumbs, or I have some peppermint candies over here. And you could do, they have shorter sticks for lollipops that you could do. These are cake pop sticks. I like these just because you can mix them into chocolate. But if you're just using them as a snack, you can get the shorter ones. Okay, so you can take your marshmallow and you can just dip it in and roll it a little bit and then just tap off any of the excess and then just dip it in wherever you want. There's a nice little s'mores treat, and then I'll do another one, and I'll dip that into some peppermint candies. But you can do sprinkles, you can put nuts, crushed nuts on here. All sorts of different treats can be made with these marshmallows. So let me get these finished up, and we will move on. Okay, so there you have them, my little chocolate covered marshmallows with sprinkles of different kinds, some peppermint, some graham cracker. As I said, you can do nuts. You can play around with this as much as you want. I got about 16 using half a bag of the chocolate chips. But these are going to air dry as well. Let them dry up, solidify. And I'm going to show you one last quick treat. All right, so for the last one, I'm going to do melted snowman cookies. And these are not going to be, you don't have to do any baking because I have store-bought cookies here. You want something that's going to be kind of round that you can put a little bit of marshmallow on, and then we're going to cover it, but I'll show you that in a minute. So the basics of what you need are some cookies, store-bought cookies, some marshmallows, the large marshmallows. I have here some candy melts. I'm using those instead of the white chocolate chips, but you could use white chocolate chips. I have a couple of sprinkles to try to make the little eyes, but if I can't, I'm not too worried about it. And then I have some little mini peanut butter cups that are going to be the snowman's hat. So let me get my chocolate melted and we will get started. Okay, so our chocolate is melted. I have some cookies laid out. I have 12. I've unwrapped my little mini Reese's cups. I'm going to take some marshmallows, about 6, and I'm going to cut them kind of like at a diagonal because the snowman's melting and I figured his head's not going to be perfectly round like that, but you could just use it as is. Let me cut these at little angles here, and then we will move on. All right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to take one of our marshmallow halves and the sticky part, I'm going to dip it in the chocolate and then set it on the cookie. And I'm going to do that with each of the marshmallow halves. All right, so I've gotten those covered. Now what we're going to do, because we need them to look like melted snowmen, we're going to take our white chocolate and just pour that over. And if it gets a little too thick, just heat it up a little bit more in the microwave. We're just going to let that drip. And you may need to pick up the cookie and kind of spread the chocolate a little bit so it looks a little more melted. And before it dries, I'm going to add on my little Reese's cup hat. And then I'm going to take a couple of little chocolate sprinkles, just 2 to represent the eyes, hopefully. As I said, my hands may not be steady enough, but I'm going to give it a shot. Not too bad. You could use like the little icing markers. You could use little chocolate chips. You can use whatever you like. But let me get the rest of these covered and we'll move on. Okay, and there you have them. Little melted snowman cookies. Obviously, I'm not going to keep using the sprinkles because they make it look almost like ghosts, and I don't want that. But I'm sure with your more steady hands than mine, you can probably decorate them a little bit better. But that's the base. Then you just throw a little face on there, maybe a little orange Tic Tac for a nose, and voila, you have some melted snowman cookies, and you didn't have to bake a thing. But that wraps up my 4 quick Christmas treats for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I'd appreciate you doing the usual: like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. Typically, I do weight loss recipes. This is not my typical, but I figured for the holidays, let's splurge a little. And you can check out the description box if you want to find any of my recipes. My blog is linked down there, as is my Amazon storefront, my Built Bar rewards, Fetch rewards, my Skinny Syrups code, and my social media, both Instagram and 2 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So go check out the description box for information, and I hope that you will stick around if you're new here and you're looking for some weight loss recipes. There are always more coming up every Friday. So I guess I'm going to get these wrapped up and ready to gift. So until next time, bye.